All right, we are here with Scotty Felix, writer, director. We're going to be talking about the film Shadow Dancing in the West. Scotty, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Excited to join.
Awesome. I look forward to talking about the film. It's a dedicated to David Lynch, certainly influential for a lot of filmmakers. I definitely enjoyed growing up on Twin Peaks, and that was great that it was on television and so accessible. That said, please introduce yourself as a filmmaker and person, and then set up the film for us.
Of course. Well, yeah, man, I'm stoked to be here. I've seen some of the interviews and always enjoy just hearing people talk about their films and feel like they're really engaging conversations. So I'm stoked to be here.
Thanks, Scott.
Um, yeah, I mean, as far as myself goes, I'm a filmmaker in LA. I was born in Colton, California, and kind of grew up in the VHS world of movie going experiences until going and seeing like Spider-Man in the theater for the first time. Like I think that was probably my first experience in the theater actually. But I grew up just like loving movies, and I ended up getting an athletic scholarship to USC, and went there and did the theater program. And I was doing theater growing up with my grandma, but I just had I don't know, I had like a reawakening almost, and I got to college and saw that this was like an actual possibility to do this type of thing. And so, yeah, long story short, I ended up finding writing very early on, and then I found directing a couple years after college. And since then, kind of stumbled into both of those, and it feels like it's very um, meant to be. So I've been doing that for a couple years now. And as far as the film goes, Shadow Dancing in the West is like a 1980s folk tale that takes place out in the desert that looks at two brothers who are estranged from each other. And they end up going out to scatter their father's ashes. And at that campfire, we see them try to reconnect, but see that there's a lot of trouble in the past, and they struggle to do so until uh, some mystical things start happening in the desert.
Sweet. Thank you for that
Yeah.
setup. Really cool, man. Cool history. That's really, great that you have kind of those two worlds in terms of the athleticism that brought you to the USC and as well as the artistic traits and character and be able to merge those together. I mean, I think one of the things that's great about having the athletic, was it a team sport?
Yeah, yeah.
So that the team, mentality is so important in filmmaking. So I'm sure you borrowed a lot from that. So that's a really unique, cool story. As far as the film, it was really fun to watch. What very well directed, very well written. Shot, edited, all that is a tight film. And, to get to the heart of the conversation and the meat, where we start is your life, your background, and the themes that are in the film, the sibling rivalry, the jealousy, the seeking freedom, right? The brothers seek freedom both, but through different means. One
Yeah.
seeks it in a way where they're going towards an external thing to fill them, and another is trying to fly. So, um, where does those themes that you're exploring, how do you contextualize them in your life?
Well, I'm the oldest of six siblings.
Ooh.
So, yeah, there's a lot of juice in that, I should say.
Sure.
Thankfully, I love all my siblings, and we've never fought to this extent. But I think that,
Bashed each other's face under the coffee can.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're quite literally. I mean, my brother gave me a couple scars that were not fun.
Yeah.
But he felt bad for him afterwards. But that's
Right.
being boys growing up, though.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like the main, I guess, inspiration from this, it just kind of like came together because first and foremost, me and my team, we had been doing a lot of commercial work up to that point, and we were just like, we need to go do something. And I was like, let me just sit down and just like kind of just one stroke it, just like first thought wins, and that this was just what came out of it. I'm a huge fan of Vincent Van Gogh, and one of the themes or principles that I really adopt at times, or try to at least, is how he would paint really quickly, and he would try to get like all of the canvas done in one quick sitting almost. And I feel like sometimes that helps, and I think that that certainly helped with this approach of sitting down, just like writing this script that just came to. And before long, probably like 2 pages in, I kind of realized that it was definitely, excuse me, it was definitely a Cain and Abel story. And I just started thinking in those archetypes for the most part, and wanting to at least like examine that and see like what those like themes were, what would happen really if we were out there in that desert with them when that happened, and just kind of like seeing, I guess, like a new lens on it for the most part.
Are you aware how you have struggled with those themes or struggle with them in your life?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that there's a like you said, there's these like certain, each brother wants something different, but I think more than anything, they're battling like this like certain expectation of like what they are owed or deserve. And I think one of the hardest things, at least that I've experienced growing up, is that like life does not owe you anything, and it will not apologize about it. And I think dealing with that as an adult for the first time, like really being like, oh yeah, like I'm really not special in that sense. Like I'm part of the whole symphony of people and humanity here, and I'm not just like the chosen one, so to speak. You know?
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. And it does put more context into everything because, I think it's a natural process of growing up where whether you have resentment for your sibling because you feel they got better treatment than you, or whether you feel resentment for a parent because you were mistreated by them,
Right.
somehow life was unfair to
Yeah.
us. And then
Yeah.
there's that part of growing up where you realize, well, you're maybe, yeah, it wasn't fair. And here we are, and who has the responsibility now to make it fair? And
Yeah.
it's us. And
Yeah.
so that's just a natural part of growing up. So these brothers are great in the sense that they represent two perspectives. When I'm viewing the film and you've got, these brothers getting together, scatter their dad's ashes, and one brother left town and he left the history.
Hmm.
And he also had this sort of inclination and this affinity with ET to fly, right? He wanted to,
Yeah.
so he left and he cheered that on, and that sort of he shows this heart pull that he had, and so he
Yeah.
that way. And the other brother went a different way. He stayed and he kept wanting to get attention from his dad. He kept wanting to do it right, and it didn't work out to get something from someone else.
Yeah.
And so here he is, and one brother can dance, and the other brother didn't want to dance, right? And
Hmm.
then this object mysteriously appears out of nowhere, and it's illuminated, right? And they're both like, "Wow, let's go towards the illumination." And then they fight over who has access to the illumination, and actually the fight was begun by the brother who stayed on the ranch, right? The other guy was the brother who had the heart pull, was really just trying to defend the can of his dead father's ashes from the other brother. And so they, get in this tussle and whatever. So there's this metaphor, right, going on between the outcomes and the pull of the heart and the path of freedom, and then the pull of that need to fill something, that hole, by getting it from someone else, right? And that
Yeah.
never works.
Hmm.
So those are the themes and meanings that I see playing out within this context of these two brothers and their different perspectives and their kind of different predilections, and um, how their lives have unfolded. You wrote it, you directed it, you lived it. right? You've lived not just, I mean, the writing of it, but the inspiration of it, right? Six siblings, you got juice, you're loaded. Uh, what now you're done. Now you're viewing the film. I don't know how much perspective you've had. What meaning do you take away from it?
Man, I think that's a great question, man. Because there's definitely there's definitely an intention going into it, and then when you actually go out there and make it, and then it kind of like reveals itself to you out there in shooting it, and then also in post, it reveals itself even more to like what the actual story is and what the themes actually are. So, you know, at least like sitting with it now and having it be being done for a little bit, maybe it's also just like in relation to life as well, with just like taking life's lumps and victories. But I think when I watch it now, I think that more so than anything, I feel the tragedy in the story of just not being able to tell someone that you love them and that you forgive them for whatever might have happened in the past.
Mm,
And that obviously like ties into family that I'm in terms of like how I'm saying that, but and to friends too maybe, but um, I just think that more so the tragedy of just not being able to see people just like say how they feel really, which is really hard to do, and especially for men a lot of the time. And I think specifically with brothers too, because I've experienced that with my own brother. Not to get too deep here, but we have so much
let's get into
shared
it.
experience. You know, like we know our past with our parents. We know like those really intense moments that nobody else knows about, and you know, me and my brother actually we live together, and but we don't ever talk about that stuff. You know, we know about it, but like we're talking about you know Lakers and sports and movies and yeah, we're not sitting there being like, hey man, I really love you, man. I really love you. Every once in a while, you know, maybe once in a while. There was a moment in time a couple months ago where I realized I was like, man, I was like, I was like, I haven't hugged my brother in a long time, man. And it's like really, it's a really vulnerable feeling to acknowledge that and then also be like, I'm gonna hug him next time I see him, but I don't want him to feel weird, you know.
I love
So
that.
it's just yeah, it's just such a boiling pot of things, you know.
I love it. I love it, dude. Thank
Your
you.
question.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. It's it's up to us, right, to be the change we want to see. And as men and as role models for other men and being in a position, where you're an older brother and you are able to set the bar or set the example, and it doesn't have to get reciprocated. I have a brother, an older brother. We're 13 years separate. Uh,
Mm,
we had a coffee can experience. Dad died. I went back. He went back at different times, and there was no and we're completely estranged from one another, and there will not most likely be any sort of reconciliation because it takes two parties, right?
yeah, yeah,
Just like there was no reconciliation, and that tragedy is there. And so, how if you can change it, you change it, and if you can't, what do you do? And in my case, just to expose my personal narrative and response or in reflection to your themes and how our humanity functions. What I found is I've been doing a meditative practice for years in the morning, and it has evolved. And the crux of the evolution evolved from I forgive you, XYZ person, to please forgive me for
yeah,
anything I've done to cause you any suffering.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in that process, it's like I'm taking away my desire to be right. I'm relinquishing that, man.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
not, yeah.
No, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's it sounds so simple and when you just say it out loud, like, oh, I mean, you know, me and my brother, this and that. And it's like, no, there's like there's a what is it, an iceberg underneath that water, you know? Um, And I think that when you say like two people, it takes two people to forgive. I think that like I don't know, man. I think yeah, in some cases, and I also think that sometimes it might just be inspired by one person. You
For
know?
sure. Two people to reconcile,
Yeah,
but not to forgive.
yeah,
And you're right. I mean, can I go to my brother and say, hey, um, please forgive me for any suffering I caused? Can I say that to him aloud? Uh, I could.
yeah,
Um, I could. Will I? I don't know, maybe.
yeah.
But
And also too, it's like and everybody, not to get in some therapy session here, but
please
I think
bring
at
it
least
on. I mean,
in
that's
terms
what films are.
it is,
That's
it
what
is.
art is.
At least the ones, yeah, at least the ones that I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like because I think that you feel that, or at least I do in the film about how I think you see multiple moments, like in small moments or opportunities, where both brothers could really say that simple phrase and leave it with the other to take it and deal with it on their own time, respectfully. But they don't take that opportunity for whatever reason. And I think that that's really, I don't know, it's indicative of life. I mean, the film's very stylized in certain ways, but I still think that there's trying to at least have that realism of interaction, of being like, yeah, these guys aren't just gonna, talk about their feelings all night. The reason why I love the ET monologue, aside from just being a cinephile, is the fact that he's really just trying to connect with his brother about like what they used to have in their childhood together, and that's his way of saying I miss you.
Right.
But he has a full page monologue instead because he can't say a couple words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I guess the question is based on that, right? Based on the moral of we have an opportunity and we can take it or
yeah,
leave it.
yeah.
Um, how can we empower ourselves to take it?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know, man. That's each person's journey.
What
I'm
can
not
we do?
sure. I think I don't know, man. That's such a great question. I think that each person's journey is different. I think that having love for yourself and empathy for others goes a really long way. And that's really all I can speak about because I mean, as far as just like the remedies, I guess, or the solutions, like I don't really have those. I'm trying to figure it out with everybody, and I think that hopefully that's what it's a short film, but I hope that when people watch it in festivals next year, I hope that they like feel that of like, man, I might just call my family and just say I love them, or text them, just be like, hey, how you doing? Something as small as that instead of giving them an ET monologue about about how you like the movie so much and he should watch it sometime. But just being like, hey, I miss you, man. I
That's
don't know. That didn't answer your question at
Yeah, no,
all.
you did, dude. You totally did. You totally did. You absolutely 100% did, man. You said love yourself. You said empathy, and you're doing it. You're putting out the work. You're putting out the message, right?
Yeah, I
And
just, I, it just, I think that that's very indicative of like where we're at as a country right now too. Just who threw the first stone? I don't know. We're gonna fight till the end of time, I
right,
guess. You know,
right,
that's what the only option is? I don't think so personally.
right, right, right. Now, there's a great line that I am always reminded of is you can be right or you can let love win.
Yeah, yeah.
So, has your brother seen the movie?
I don't think so. No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
I think he's seen the trailer for it, and me and my brother, like I said, we don't talk about a lot of emotions or feelings and stuff like that. Like so I think that maybe, well, he's gonna watch this interview and he's gonna have a cheat code, I guess, at this point. But like, hopefully, when he watches it in a theater next year, which is how this movie was made to be seen, our
Mhm.
short film was made to be seen. Um, I think you'll have some ideas probably, you
That's
know. But
awesome, man. You're doing it. Look, you're a young man. You're the oldest of, so I know your brother's even younger. You're a young man, and you're set, man. You're going in the path of flying. That's where you're going.
yeah,
So
well, we can only hope, right?
I can hear it, man. I mean, if
Yeah,
your choices, if your values, if your vision, right, as a director, you hold a vision. If your vision is self-love and empathy, dude, you're good.
yeah, yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And to not make it some, I don't want to say corny, but I guess I'll be blunt. Yeah, to not make it corny of an ending, to I don't know, have these guys just like embrace each other, and maybe that is a good ending, you know. But at least I think also too, like showing people, especially in the medium that is a short film, which is, you don't have an hour and a half to have a full on arc of a character and character development and all these things that like take time to bake. But when you do have a 10-minute window, making it about more maybe sort of more so like an event that really, really, really changes the characters like right away to a degree, so that you can at least like see uh, what maybe might not be the happy ending potentially, you know. Um, Short films are like kind of like fairy tales in a way, or folk tales, where they're just like a one-page thing, and you're like, damn, that sucked. Like in a in a good way. You're like, the Prince Charming doesn't get to go save the princess. I guess he died in the fighting the dragon. You know, so
I get it, man. I think it's a great short film. I think it's a great theme, and it's got depth, and it's got a range, and it's well pulled off. And I think you, as an artist, are on your journey. And I've found in mine, and the art that I resonate with the most are the people that take the greatest risk. And taking the greatest risk is being the most vulnerable. And if
yeah,
if you risk corny, you got to risk corny. You got to
yeah,
risk failure. You got to risk, you know, so and I am confident in you
okay,
that you risk that shit, and you will be on this in a place of unknown for that fearful moment, and then find expansion beyond it.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I
Yeah,
mean, film's dedicated to David Lynch, so you got to get a little freaky in there, you know.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Scotty, I think we've covered our ground, man. The last question, I'll ask you because maybe you have some inspiration, but since making this movie, how have you been changed as a person?
Probably trying to be aware and grateful for each day, I would say, instead of worrying about tomorrow and what next year might bring. Really, just the fact of like, at least relating it to the film of all these worries about tomorrow or worries in the past. They don't really have any say really on like what I'm going to do today or how I'm going to enjoy today or this cup of coffee that I have. And I think just being grateful because, the I don't want to spoil the ending, but life can sometimes escape you very quickly and unexpectedly, and then at the end of it, it's like, okay, well, I guess that was my day. I guess that was my time, and at that point, it's like I don't want my last day on Earth to be spent worrying about what I'm going to do next year or something that happened to me 10 years ago. I want it to be at least like just present, just be happy and thankful for like what I'm doing and seeing and feeling. So I would say that. And I don't know if the film caused that or not, or if life did, but at least just in relation to the film of like where I was at when I made it compared to where I am today, I would say that for the most part.
What a wonderful journey, Scotty Felix, filmmaker, writer, director. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability, which is your strength, and being an example. And it was a pleasure to meet you and have you on the show.
Appreciate it, man. It was a great conversation. Need more of these.
Thank you, brother. All right.
Thank you.
We
Appreciate it,
are
man.
out. I'll play it forward. Till next time, everybody.
Thank
Peace.
you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
All right.
peace.